Sister-wise Meri Brown feels weirded out by this giant milestone with villain Kody after celebrating new loving companion. Meri Brown from Sister-wise has reached a significant milestone with Kody Brown, leaving her with bittersweet feelings about her past. She spent 32 years in a polygamous relationship, remaining by Kody's side and accepting his other wives into their household. Unfortunately, Meri's passive nature ultimately didn't serve her well. Her kindness backfired when Kody began neglecting her in favor of spending time with Robin Brown. His hurtful words led Meri to leave the marriage. Since then, she has been living her best life away from Kody, enjoying time with her dog, whom she calls her loving companion. Recently, Meri shared a cute selfie on her Instagram, discussing how fun her road trip has been. She also revealed that she had reached a big milestone in her life involving Kody. Meri wrote, "I had this realization that today, 35 years ago, I met who would eventually become my ex-husband." She shared that she felt weirded out by realizing how long it had been. Meri added, "God played a hand in my life and allowed me to realize this day for what it is, a full circle moment." Meri explained how letting go helped her find peace and freedom. She concluded her post by recognizing that she didn't regret her life. Meri's recent post about reaching a milestone with Kody indicates she's making an effort to move forward from her past. She spent over 30 years with her former husband, so it's understandable that she still reflects on him at times and hasn't completely removed him from her life. Despite the challenges, Meri remains optimistic about her future and enthusiastic about what lies ahead. Her Instagram post suggests that she has decided to embrace all the highs and lows of her previous marriage in hopes of finding comfort and peace. Unlike Cristin Brown, who decided to marry another man and make up for the love she didn't receive from Kody, Meri has concentrated on herself and her ambitions. She isn't trying to erase the past or seek someone else to make her feel whole. Instead, Meri aims to find inner happiness and strive to be her best self. Her message indicates that she's content with how things unfolded, both the good and bad. Seeing Meri reflect on her past with Kody and recognize it for what it is inspiring. However, watching her react boldly to her anniversary instead of acting like a victim is even more commendable. Meri knows she got the short end of the stick in her relationship with Kody. Despite that, she doesn't want to portray herself as a victim by trying to take cheap shots at her ex. Meri's bold and assertive approach towards her future suggests that she has turned her life around for the better. The Sister Wives cast member has become stronger and more independent. In the quiet corners of her life beyond the cameras, Meri Brown had often found herself bewildered by the twists and turns of her journey with Kody. For nearly 3 decades, she'd lived a life deeply intertwined with his, facing the challenges and joys of polygamy with a mixture of resilience and surrender. Yet, in recent months, as she prepared for a new phase of life that was both exciting and unfamiliar, a strange feeling had crept in, one she hadn't expected to feel at this particular milestone with Kody. To Meri, it was weird, a word that felt inadequate for describing the complexity of emotions whirling inside her. The morning had started like any other, a quiet ritual of coffee and solitude before the day unfurled. But today, as she scrolled through the messages of support and well wishes from fans, family, and friends, Meri was struck by the weight of time. She had celebrated countless anniversaries, birthdays, and family milestones alongside Kody, their children, and her sister wives. Yet, somehow, this felt different. It was as if she had crossed into an entirely new world where Kody, once the center of her universe, had become a faint star on the periphery. The realization was both liberating and confusing. She felt relief in the clarity she'd found within herself, yet there was a sadness that lingered, a feeling she couldn't shake. Kody was, for better or worse, a monumental chapter of her life. But as she looked to her future, her new loving companion had become a beacon, a symbol of something she'd been yearning for, a life not defined by past obligations or distant dreams, but by her own choice for companionship and contentment. The journey to self-acceptance hadn't been an easy one. There were years where she had felt tethered to an existence she'd been slowly outgrowing. But recently, as she spent more time in her B&B, Lizzie's Heritage Inn, in Utah, Meri had started discovering parts of herself she had forgotten existed. She learned to appreciate the simple pleasure of an uninterrupted sunset, the joy of meaningful conversations with guests who wandered in, and the freedom that came with independence. The woman who once sought validation from Kody's affections now realized she had the power to fulfill her own happiness. But Kody's presence was like a shadow that occasionally stretched over her path. His name would come up in conversations, questions would be asked, and memories would bubble up unbidden. When she shared moments of laughter and warmth with her new companion, she couldn't ignore the pang of bittersweet nostalgia for a love that once held such hope. In many ways, her life with Kody was a chapter she'd never regret, but also one she had no desire to relive. They had shared moments, struggles, and a family. Yet somewhere along the way, their paths had diverged so profoundly that it was almost impossible to believe they'd once been inseparable. It was this milestone, celebrating her newfound peace while also acknowledging Kody's evolving role in her life, that made her feel weirded out. There was a strange sense of closure mixed with disbelief. She had thought she would always feel something deep and irrevocable for Kody, and perhaps she still did. But now, standing at the precipice of a new life with a companion who genuinely cherished her without the burden of shared histories and family ties, Meri felt like she was finally stepping into her true self. Kody's reaction to her newfound independence had, of course, been typical. His responses ranged from indifference to passive disdain, as if he couldn't quite grasp the concept of Meri moving on without him. She knew he didn't see himself as the villain in her story, but she had also learned that his perspective was filtered through his own needs and insecurities. The notion that she could thrive without him, find joy in a life separate from the one they had built, seemed to disturb him in ways he couldn't express. To Meri, Kody's bewilderment was more a reflection of his own limitations than her life choices. As she stared out at the quiet Utah landscape, Meri thought of the irony of it all. The woman who had once feared solitude now embraced it, and the man who had once promised her a life of fulfillment seemed lost in his own labyrinth. For Meri, this weird milestone wasn't about abandoning the past, it was about learning to carry it differently. She wasn't running away from her shared history with Kody. Rather, she was moving forward, taking only what she needed, lessons learned, memories cherished, and the strength to face a future all her own. Perhaps it was this strange sensation, this odd blend of relief, nostalgia, and resolve, that had her feeling weirded out. After years of fighting to belong in a family where she often felt like an outsider, Meri was finally learning to belong to herself.